Dangers of sugar.
Fructose is poison.
Main contributing factor.
Learn about it, the more it scares me. Metabolic diseases.
According to an increasingly vocal group, is sugar.
So that must mean sugar is bad, right? Not necessarily. Let's define that question. Is sugar bad? There are two terms, sugar and bad. Well, bad is pretty simple. When talking about bad food, we almost always talk about unhealthy, meaning having either short or long-term negative effect on health. There are a lot of bad things associated with too much sugar consumption, like weight gain, acne, diabetes, bad teeth, bad liver, obesity and much more. But to know what sugar is, we need to go a bit deeper. Let's start with a 1-minute science lesson explaining how sugar works in molecules. 3, 2, 1, go. First of all, there are multiple kinds of sugars. However, they are all composed of 3 things: carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. These 3 make the name carbohydrate. These atoms can make 3 different sugar molecules: glucose, fructose and galactose. These 3 are the so-called monosaccharides. Saccharide comes from the Greek word saccharos, meaning sugar. Monosaccharides are a form of simple sugars. These 3 monosaccharides form a building blocks for disaccharides, which are also a form of simple sugars. Again, there are 3 of those: sucrose, which is fructose and glucose; galactose and glucose make lactose; and glucose and glucose make maltose. Sucrose is found in table sugar, lactose is found in milk, and maltose is found in things like beer. Next to these simple sugars there are complex sugars, mainly polysaccharides. These are made up of many sugar units chained together and have a very complex molecular structure. Examples of complex sugars are starch, found in potatoes, grains and beans; fiber, found in whole grain, nuts and vegetables; cellulose, found in leafy greens and whole grains. There are some more, but these are the main ones. Now, these things are not often seen as unhealthy by most people, but they are in fact still sugar. But they are not bad sugars, they are good, right? Well, it's not that simple. When, say, potatoes are broken down in the body, what do you get? Yes, exactly, glucose. The same exact glucose as from this Coke. Most people would agree there's nothing inherently wrong with glucose. They say it's fructose that does the damage. It's true that fructose is the sugar which you need to look out for the most. Fructose is digested differently than galactose and glucose. Let's look at the metabolism of fructose. Say you drink a can of Coke. The Coke contains sugar, in the form of sucrose. As we know, sucrose is made of fructose and glucose. When the Coke enters your mouth, it starts to break down due to enzymes. However, the sucrose stays intact. The same exact thing happens in the stomach. It's in the small intestine, sucrose is finally broken down into fructose and glucose. Both are transported to the liver. Here, they are separated. Glucose turns into glycogen, which can be used to produce energy, or if there is already enough glycogen, it's turned into fat for long-term energy storage in the body. Contrary to what people think, fructose can also be converted into those two things, glycogen and fat. The only difference is that the fat made from fructose is stored in the liver. This is where most people think the devil hides. But is that really the case? Well, not necessarily. As with most things, the dose makes the poison. According to science, the first 50 grams of fructose is converted into glycogen. Every gram after that is converted into fat. This means you can consume 50 grams of fructose before getting into dangerous territory. 50 grams. That's the equivalent of 3 liters of orange juice, or 10 bananas, or 3 kilos of potatoes. Since the dose is so high, why are all these people still saying sugar is bad? If you ask any nutritionist what foods are bad, they will say there are no good or bad foods. Which is completely true. So sugar isn't bad or directly deadly, but you do need to watch out. One of the reasons sugar is associated with weight gain is the fact that it contains a lot of calories. And it doesn't make you feel satiated. This is where the real danger is. A can of Coke contains almost 150 calories, but you don't notice them. You can eat the same size meal with a can of Coke than with a bottle of water, and you consume 150 calories more with a can of Coke, without feeling a difference. Next to that, sugar is very addictive, and overconsumption can lead to various diseases like diabetes. Let's look at this a bit more in depth. When you consume sugar, it triggers a release of dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter acting as a chemical messenger within the brain. This surge of dopamine is responsible for the nice sensation experienced when indulging in something sweet. The dopamine response sets off a brain's reward system, creating a loop that compels you to seek out and consume more sugar. This system served a crucial purpose for survival in our ancestral times, when carbohydrates were scarce. Back then, stumbling on a sweet berry was a rare and valuable find, and the brain needed a mechanism to remember where it was. While the system is still in our brains, the modern world has drastically altered the availability of sugar, making it counterproductive. It It's this persistence of an ancient survival mechanism in a world abundant with sugar that contributes to the addictiveness of sugar. Moreover, the same system plays a role in the lack of satiety associated with sugar consumption. The brain's reward system, while encouraging the intake of energy-dense foods like sugar, fails to signal a feeling of fullness or satisfaction. This phenomenon explains why, despite consuming a significant amount of calories from sugary beverages or snacks, you may still feel hungry and are prone to overeating. Clear, you need to be cautious with sugar, but there are many overlooked sides to sugar. Let's explore another facet of sugar's impact. This time is the reason why sugar can be beneficial, particularly in the context of sport performance. Glucose, a key component of sugars as we know, serves as a primary energy source for our bodies, especially during physical activities. Athletes often rely on a quick burst of energy to enhance their performance, and the rapid conversion of glucose provides precisely that. Consuming sugar before or during intense exercise can help fill up glycogen stores and sustain energy levels, contributing to improved endurance and overall athletic output. The body efficiently converts glucose into usable energy, making sugar a valuable ally for the athletes seeking that extra boost during competitions or training sessions. This also means that sugar isn't stored as fat. There's never too much glycogen in the body when exercising. A great example of this are pro cyclists. They consume over 150 carbohydrates per hour during a race, yet they're still thin as paper. Another way to utilize sugar is in the realm of cognitive performance. Again, glucose, a fundamental component of sugar, is a crucial energy source for the brain. Consuming moderate amounts of sugar, particularly in the form of complex carbohydrates, can provide a steady supply of glucose to the brain, supporting cognitive functions such as memory, attention, and problem solving. This is particularly relevant during mentally demanding tasks or situations that require sustained focus. However, this is only true for most people. There's a significant amount of people that get a lot of brain fog and lack of focus when they consume sugar. Those people should avoid sugar before or during workouts. Experiment with this and find out what works for you. One more tool I want to let you know is a bit of a peculiar one. There's some scientific evidence hinting at the fact that glucose can improve our willpower and tenacity. I'm not going in depth into this, but if you want to know more, you can check out this amazing podcast from Andrew Huberman about the subject of willpower and tenacity. So, to conclude, is sugar inherently bad? No, not at all. You shouldn't avoid sugar like 1 gram will kill you, but you need to be cautious. The dose makes the poison. So next time you think of something healthy, think again. Check the food label. If you want to know how much fructose a certain item contains, you can justify the added sugar content by 2, because the glucose to fructose ratio is about 50-50. Remember that you can eat up to 50 grams of fructose a day while remaining healthy. Sugar can also be used as a tool to improve everyday life. It can help your physical and cognitive performance, and maybe even your willpower. Sugar isn't bad at all when you know how and when to use it. So, that concludes sugar. If you don't believe a potato talking about sugar, you can check out these 2 videos from sports scientist Andy Gelping and Dr. Mike Isertol talking about why sugar isn't as bad as you think. If you have further questions, leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them. Also, please consider subscribing. Till next time.